Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is just a chit-chatty get ready with me, and it's not even getting ready to go somewhere. It's just playing around with makeup that I have picked up recently or haven't used in a while, and thought I would just sit down and have a discussion. There have been some things on my mind lately, some things that have been kind of stressing me out, and I just thought we would just sit down and talk and play with makeup. But you guys, before we jump into it, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell for notifications of new videos, and if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Also, if you want to see how I got this look and what's on my mind, just keep watching. Okay, you guys, I have a bunch of new stuff in front of me, and I just wanted to kind of sit down and chit chat while we played with them. I'll show you guys what I'm using. I may not necessarily discuss everything, but there's just been some things going on lately, and I figured we would sit down and just kind of talk. I do have the Lunar Beauty Siren Sunset color palette. I love this outer carton, and the palette itself, I want to say the actual packaging is different. Usually I go and do like extra clips of the makeup I'm using or whatnot. I'm feeling out of it, you guys. So this is the palette. Really pretty. There was another palette that had the moon on it. Also really pretty. I love that effect. And the color story. Looking at the shades, there's some stunning shades in here and could definitely go with deeper tones. I'll try and do swatches later to be added in B-roll or whatnot, but I just figured we would talk about some things that have been going on. I know I did a life update probably like a month, maybe 2 months ago now, and I've been feeling really out of it. In that video, I talked about the fact that I've been having some back problems. Like, it's normal wear and tear as you get older. Muscles feel different, nerves feel things differently, just it happens. Well, I had a whole bunch of tests and everything done, and one of them was an MRI. Well, during the MRI, they figured out that I only had a single kidney, which is not as rare as you would think it is. I'm just priming my eyes with P. Louise base. I need to repurchase. It is really good for my oily lids, and it will make the colors pop. But outside of the MRI, when they figured out that like they couldn't find my right kidney, they scheduled some other things. So I did have an ultrasound, and I had a CT scan with like dye to help with the imaging. And the doctor that did the imaging was actually quite intrigued with my case. So like he wanted extra pictures, had me stay for a couple extra shots of the kidney and whatnot. All in all, my kidney, they're fine. It's fine. We've always been raised, when you talk about anatomy and biology and you're in school, that you're supposed to have 2. It is normal. You can live with just 1. It is 1 in 1,000. It's not like a rare thing. Did all that, figured out, they did more testing, blood work and stuff like that, and figured out that I have fully functioning kidney, and it actually grew larger to compensate for not having the right kidney. All right, let's dive in here and get some shades down. I'm looking at this one shade, Starfish. It looks like it's a little bit more like a pink undertone or like a cool undertone. I think I want to dive into that one first. I don't, words. We're going to use this one right here, Starfish. There is a pretty big mirror in this palette. So during all the testing and everything, figured out that it's compensating but flowing fine. And so on your kidney, like, you have the tube on top and a tube on the bottom that goes into your bladder, and usually there's just the one. Mine actually has, they're called ureters. It has 2 ureters coming off of it, so everything's flowing like it's supposed to. The downside is I've been having back problems, and they've been prescribing pain medications. Well, they tell you to stay away from NSAIDs, and I had to do some research and figure out what that is. And NSAIDs are pain medication, usually like ibuprofen, like a bunch of different pain medications that you would take that could cause damage to your kidney later on down the road. It's not really like the typical avenue they want to go if you only have a single kidney. They don't want to do damage by giving you a pain medication that could cause damage to your internal organs. So then it was like, okay, well, you're having back problems and back pain. What do we do? Because they don't want you to take the pain medications they would normally prescribe, classified as NSAIDs. So it was, okay, well, we're going to prescribe you Tylenol, which is not as high of a pain management than what I was taking. I wasn't taking anything crazy like Oxy or whatnot, but it was a step up from ibuprofen or Tylenol. And now I'm going to be downgraded to Tylenol, which, so ibuprofen and other NSAIDs can do damage to your kidneys, while Tylenol can do a number on your liver. So now, because I'm being prescribed Tylenol, and you're only given one liver, 2 kidneys, 1 liver. I'm learning all my anatomy again. I'm really liking this shade. So they do a functionality test, and I'm told if you don't need to take the pain meds, don't. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not a huge proponent of taking medications I don't need. If I don't have to take them, I'm not going to take them. But I've been in a lot of freaking pain. So there's that trade-off, because I also need to still work out to maintain physical standards for the Navy, as well as just physicality. If I can strengthen my muscles and my back, maybe my back won't hurt as much. They did diagnose me as having moderate arthrosis, which arthritis is the lower back, normal wear and tear, but doing the jobs that I've done in the Navy, like being a recruit division commander or in other branches a drill instructor for 5 years, will do some damage because you're doing physical PT activity with them, your recruits, nonstop. You're showing them how to work out, because some of them, there's electives and they don't have to do gym. So you're doing a lot of physical activity. Let's see, what other shade do I want to dig into? I kind of want to go with the purple. I feel like I just did purple. And I have the Cosmic Brush Gothic palette, which is predominantly purple. I have this shade down and I feel like it could go any direction. There's some greens in here, which I could do some greens. There's a really pretty blue. Decisions. I kind of want to go with blue. I haven't done blue in a long time. What shade to build up? We're just going to go blue. So we're going to dive into the shade Deep Sea. I'm actually going to pick that up on my fluffy crease brush before I do the compacted brush to make it more intense. Alright, so trying to not take NSAIDs, arthritis in the lower back. There's been some things. So talking to my pain management doctor, there was a recommendation of something that we could do, and it is called a nerve ablation. Well, what they do, based off of the scans and pictures and everything that we've looked at, they will go and, so I had a test done yesterday. I'm in a lot of pain and I'm trying to distract myself by doing makeup, but yesterday was worse. And leading up to the procedure, I wasn't allowed to take pain meds for 5 days. The day before the procedure, like it just, I went to work because I had to, but I left as soon as I could, and I immediately went home, changed into pajamas, and I laid down on the couch watching TV. I was just in so much pain, and at the time, like, walking around hurt. So I had the procedure yesterday, and after what they did, they gave me SIQ, which is sick in quarters. You're not supposed to go home, or you're not supposed to go out and do anything crazy. Like, they would just want you to rest. And I've been getting so stir crazy laying in bed or laying on the couch or just sitting. So I was like, let's do makeup. It's not very intense putting makeup on, but I am still in a lot of pain. It kind of freaking sucks. And I'm not gonna lie. So they did, alright, the nerve ablation, yesterday was the test for it. They were going to see if they had identified the nerve and isolate it. And they put a painkiller directly into the nerve to see if it helped. And it did. I was in a lot of pain going into the hospital, and Luke was kind enough to take the day off of work and drive me because they told me like you have to have a driver. So he took me to the hospital yesterday morning and made sure I got home safely afterwards. He was the best nurse, like made sure, because I wanted ramen so bad. Like, you know when you feel bad and it's cold out, you just want some warm soup. For me, I want ramen. And I want like traditional Japanese ramen like I had when I lived in Japan. So he went and picked that up for me, and just the best boyfriend. So what they did is I got there and I didn't have to like change out of my clothes that I had worn. I just wore like comfy clothes, a hoodie and my tennis shoes. And so they prepped me and everything because it was just a in and out procedure, making sure that I was able to walk afterwards, like I still had mobility, and to see what my pain threshold was. Alright, so I think I got a good wash of color. I'm going to use my compacted smudge brush to deepen it up a little bit. Same shade, Deep Sea. And then we'll swatch the shimmers to see like what I want to use. But when I got there, and they ask you, you know, here's this chart, tell me what your pain threshold is. And so back in the day, you get asked like your pain threshold and you're like, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. And then you're like, and 10 is the worst. But you didn't really know like what they were measuring it on. Now they have a chart and it tells you like a description of like 1 is like barely noticeable, whatever. It tells you. I was an 8. Like it freaking hurt. I was just so uncomfortable. I didn't even want to get up and take a shower yesterday, but I was like, I need to take a shower. Like just in my head, I was like, I need to like do my normal routine. I need to get up, take my shower. I wasn't allowed to eat prior. No eating or drinking 8 hours prior. So it just, my normal routine outside of medications or vitamins or anything like that. But I got up and Luke took me to the hospital. So everyone there was like super nice and just reassuring because I'd never had this done before. And I didn't want to psych myself out by reading stuff online because you can find some of the forums and they're like, it was the worst pain I'd ever felt. Or some people were like, I barely felt anything. I was just like, I wanted to know the basics of what the doctor had told me, but I didn't want to know another person's like thoughts on it because my pain tolerance is different than your pain tolerance and someone else's pain tolerance. There's guys that are like, yeah, I'd definitely be able to give birth. I don't want to ever go through that. It doesn't sound comfortable or no, but there are women that do it and they're like, yep, it was easy. And I'm like, your pain threshold is way higher than mine. And I would say that I have a pretty decent pain threshold. I'll push through a lot of things that some people wouldn't necessarily like ignore, but like everyone's pain tolerance is different. So I don't want to like psych myself out. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. There were moments when he's like, you're gonna feel a pressure and then warmth. And I'm like, well, it stung. It freaking stung when he was putting the, I forgot the word of what he was, like general anesthetic for that area. They were just trying to numb the area before they stuck a needle into the nerve on my spine. That sounds like something you definitely want to go through, right? Like, so I was not reading anything outside of what the doctor and I discussed because I did not want to psych myself out. There was a point where my first, like the first injection that they made, and I'm sorry if you're squeamish, I will in the intro, like intro that. I immediately, from like having my head tilted to the left, and I had the pressure cuff on, I had the heart rate monitor on my finger, I had my head to the left, and as soon as he did that, I was just like, I cussed. And my head went straight down, like I was just breathing straight into the pillow. And the doctor is like, I need you to turn your head left or right so we know you're with us. I was just like, oh no. It did suck. But they at least let me know like, hey, we're about to do this. Sometimes they didn't because they didn't want me to tense up. But after they got me onto the gurney and taken out into the area to just kind of like relax for a second, I want to say probably like 20-30 minutes they came to check on me. And me, because you're talking about spinal cord and all that, I'm trying to see that I can flex my toes. Like I still can move my legs and everything. I'm not paralyzed because that was someone like, I know people are trying to be helpful, but don't tell me that I could be paralyzed from the waist down. I don't even like sitting still for too long. So I was trying to block that out of my mind. And I was just, okay, what reflexes do I have right now? And I'm just kind of doing a body scan, which we train our recruits to do. All right, well, I've got full mobility on things. And then they wanted me to tell them like what my pain threshold was at that point. Dude, you guys, I am packing all this blue on because I am distracted. I kind of want to put some brown in here to deepen up the outer corner, but I also don't want to ruin this. It is so pretty. But I will say, when they had me actually like moving around and doing my flexibility moves to just see like what my pain threshold was after the procedure, outside of the injection point, I didn't have a lot of pain. And I went from an 8 to, I would say, probably like a high 2, almost 3. But she did tell me, she was like, this is just a test to see if we got the right nerve. This isn't the real procedure. And I was like, I know that, I know. She's like, you're probably going to be in pain tonight. And you need to go back to taking your pain meds that you had been taking prior, because tomorrow you're going to be in pain. And she's not wrong. It kind of hurts right now. And I'm just trying to distract myself. All right, so I'm not sure if I want to do brown or the purple to deepen up this outer edge. I kind of want to use the purple. I'm going to use the shade Alluring. I'm just going to use my pencil brush because I want it to be like finessed. But I will say, so based off of the response and the fact that they think that they got the right nerve, I mean, I didn't have any pain in like my lower left area as much. I mean, obviously where they injected me. So we do have the actual ablation scheduled for when I get back from a work trip right before the holidays. But it will be nice. So when they were talking about it, and they gave me a pamphlet, and I definitely need to read more. I like scanned over it because I was just not able to like focus yesterday. But this procedure that we're doing after I get back will be not permanent, but they're saying that I could have pain relief for 6 months to 2 years with it. And to me, not having to take pain medication or like be in pain outside of having pain medication for like up to 2 years, like that sounds amazing to me. And now if I didn't have the issue I had with only having a kidney, and I don't know why that makes me laugh. I don't know. Everyone keeps asking me, they're like, did you end up in a bath full of ice? And I was like, no, I've never had my kidneys removed. I've always just, I never knew I only had one. All right, that deepened it up a little bit without strewing the color too much. All right, I want to swatch a couple of these shimmers and see what we're playing with. There's some really pretty ones here. So I'm gonna swatch the ones that I think I want to use. And then there's one that I really want to swatch that I'm probably, that I'm probably not going to use because it's not like the shade that I want to use. Yeah, that's not the shade I want to use. All right, so this first shade is Sea Witch. I don't know, that's not the vibe today. Then we have Siren. Oh, that shade. Siren. That would be pretty. Then we have Temptress. Oh, we could do Temptress right here and then Siren in here. Then we have Water Nymph, and that in the inner corner would be a lot of fun with the green undertone. And then this one is Coastline. That's just not the vibe today. Maybe if I had done like the greens with my sweater, that'll be for another day. I'm thinking Temptress, which is on my ring finger, and then Siren, just to like blend into it. Oh, yes. And then Water Nymph in the inner corner. Okay, our first shade is going to be Temptress. This one I'm going to pick up on my middle finger to place in the center, and then I'll use a dry brush to finesse it. Oh, that is gorgeous. It's amazing how much makeup can distract me from like what is going on. That was stunning, and I don't even think I need a dry brush to finesse it. I think it is doing all the work on its own. But with everything going on, with my back and pain management and stuff like that. Like I've still been trying to work out, but like as I was off my pain meds, it was getting more unbearable to go work out. Now into the shade Siren. This one I'll use my ring finger for, and then we'll probably need the dry brush for the inner corner. So like Thursday was the last time I worked out at the gym. See, I get a little bit of the purple, it's a little bit faint, and then into the blue. It's really pretty. Blend that in. But trying to stay motivated to go to the gym and do things knowing that it hurts, not my favorite thing to do. But sometimes you just have to push, especially because, you know, I got waived from the PFA this year just because the back issue and everything was fairly new. And they didn't want me to, while they were still like trying to figure out what was going on, they didn't want me to hurt myself. I appreciate that. I also haven't been waived from a physical fitness assessment in a long time. So it was weird not doing it. I just had to do like the weigh-in for it, which because I haven't been working out like I had been, I've gained some weight and I'm not comfortable in my body. I'm not like severely overweight, but at the same time, like I've got some things from my childhood, like some things that were told to me that just stick in my head. You guys, I'm gonna go and do this eye and I'll be back for the rest of it. Okay guys, I did clean up my under eyes for some reason on this eye. It ended up all underneath here and I was like, I was just being as careful as on this eye, so I don't know how I accomplished that. Now, I placed an order with a brand called Luminess Air Delivered Beauty. So this is like the packaging that was inside the package. There is a brush that came with it. I kept seeing this and I was like, you know what? I've never tried Airbrush foundation or anything like that. Let me try it out. So I got the Airbrush makeup sealant and everything is like very nicely packaged. I also picked up mine in the shade Medium 040. So Silk Foundation. I like this packaging. It's quite interesting. And then you can hear the ball bearing in there to mix the product. And then they sent their Hydrating Primer, Skin Smoothing Long Wearing. In the winter, I need hydration. Smoothing, I will absolutely take. So get an airbrush look and conceal imperfections with the Luminous Airbrush Spray Silk Foundation Starter Kit. Hydrolyzed silk, skin conditioning and smoothing. Hyaluronic acid locks in moisture for plump skin, and aloe soothing, moisturizing, and skin conditioning. All right, cool. I want to say at like the final step of purchasing, they had offered this at a discounted price, so that's why I picked up the setting spray. We'll get there. Everything is sealed very nicely, so there's no like concerns of like it spraying everywhere or opening accidentally. I guess I'll try the brush that came with it. Have you guys seen this and thought about picking it up? Let me know. Was it back in the day, was it Dior that had an airbrush or aerosol type of foundation? I never picked it up because that was definitely outside of my makeup budget. I have been known to splurge recently, but it's not my favorite price point. Okay, so it says shake well before use, spray onto brush, holding can 1 inch away. All right. We're gonna shake on the right because it hurts on the left. All right, you guys. So I think this side would probably be good. It says to apply in a buffing motion. I don't usually put my primer on with the brush. Okay, so what I was talking about prior. Growing up, when I was younger, I did have like self-image issues. Someone that you would think that you could like trust and rely on, that, you know, should be someone that you can like turn to. Mine was my mom. Would have me on diet pills as a teenager. And then I was also told that my mood had me, that I needed to be medicated. I don't know if I've talked about this before. It's obviously something that has stayed with me over the years, but I've also removed those people. Like, if you're a negative influence, if I don't think you're beneficial to progression in life, I don't have that relationship. So I haven't talked to my mom in over 7 years now. It was just easier that way because to me she was toxic. But it does stick with you. Like, when someone says something negative like that, you can't help but be affected by it. It took me a very long time to be comfortable in my own skin. So it looks like it's smooth a little bit. I don't know that it, like, if you've been here before, my pores are like not my favorite. And then there are some lines up here. We'll see. I'm intrigued to know what this is all about. All right, so we have the satin finish buildable coverage. All right, so I'm gonna use the bigger portion of the brush. I don't know if this is the right shade. You guys, I'm not really trying to go anywhere today. Like I told you guys, I'm just playing with makeup to see what it's all about and take my mind off of everything that is going on. I haven't been feeling like myself because I've gained some weight, not a ton, but more than I had in the last year or so. And it's just, I've been in pain and, you know, I can't work out the same way I had been before. One is not the right shade and I don't know that I'm a fan. I'll be back because it's not the vibe. Usually I know right off the bat if I'm going to like something or like try and give it a shot. The color isn't right and it's already sinking into my line, into my pores right here. Let me go fix it and I'll be back with a different foundation and primer. Okay, sometimes primers and foundations just aren't the vibe. I like the concept. I don't like the formula. So I grabbed my NYX Plump Right Back. This actually just survived the declutter. And then my Tarte Timeless. I'm also going to use my Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. That gets me ahead of where I was and I can keep talking to you guys. I will say, so I made the decision to not have a relationship with my mom. I am really close to the rest of my family. I'm close to my mom's mom, my grandmother who lives with me. And then I'm very close to my family on my dad's side. I've had a really good support system over the years. So one person being removed from my life because I feel like they're just toxic, to me is not a bad thing. I still have the rest of my family and they've always been super supportive of everything that I've done. I love how sticky and tacky my skin feels with that with that primer. But I'm trying to get back to my norm, my like normal physical physique. And Luke's been pretty, he won't say anything negative. He was like, "You look great, babe." And I'm like, I don't feel great. But he is very supportive. He knows that I'm not happy with the weight gain that I've had. But in the morning when I say I'm getting up to go to the gym, he'll get up with me and then he stays out of the way so I can like do the quick routine that I have to like get ready in the morning and then be out the door. He's still supportive. He's not a gym rat by any means. If he doesn't have to like go for a run or work out, like he's not going to. And I don't pressure him to go to the gym with me. I would rather just go to the gym, do what I want to do and get it knocked out. I would hate to drag someone to go to the gym with me. That's just not their vibe. Cause then they're gonna be miserable. He has done yoga with me in the past. And it's actually quite funny. He's like, "How do you get into some of these positions? How do you hold these positions for so long?" And I'm like, I built up to this. It wasn't like, ta-da, I'm here and I'm gonna do advanced things. He's like, "Yeah, but I'm doing like your level right now." I said, "I didn't ask you to." But he like especially when we first started like dating, he wanted to do things with me like working out. Sometimes he'll work out with me. Sometimes he's just like, you do you, babe. And that's fine. That is totally fine. But he knows like I haven't been happy recently because clothes don't fit the way they used to. But I like there's one week I had lost 6 pounds because I was just staying on momentum. And then, you know, the weekend I didn't work out because the gym wasn't open. That's the other thing is I'm not authorized. Well, I have been advised not to do free weights, just for the support of my muscles and my back until my body gets stronger. So I rely on the gym to be open, and on base there are 3 different gyms. The one that I go to isn't open on the weekends. But I like that gym because it's not super busy. People are not there at 5 a.m. if they're not like motivated to work out. So people are less likely to like bother me and interrupt my workouts. We're just kind of there to like get it done. Whereas there's 2 other gyms. The one I think doesn't open until like 1 in the afternoon. I was like, by that time I'm getting ready to do whatever I'm doing. And I don't remember what time the other one opens. But I just, Saturday, Sunday, if I'm gonna do anything, it's gonna be yoga at home or maybe a bike ride. But I just don't go to the gym. So we'll do whatever on the weekend, and then on Monday, depending on if I get on the scale and I'm like, oh, kind of overdid it on the weekend. That can be, I don't get on the scale every day. That's not healthy. Because weight will fluctuate and yo-yo, especially as you're building muscle. Muscle will weigh more than fat, but the way you're working out, depending on how you're toning, depending on your body composition, like you could end up gaining muscle but haven't lost the fat, so it looks like you're bigger than you are. So along with your workout routine, I'm not saying diet. That's not healthy. Diets are so fattish. You'll hear, oh, I'm keto. Oh, I don't even know all the diets. I don't even follow them anymore. But if you're not meant to diet, don't diet. You can modify your eating and still enjoy things and lose weight. I did it all the time. If I like something, like sugar, like candy, I'll keep the little like bite-sized Snickers on hand. And I don't keep a lot of candy in the house anyways. But if I have that sugar craving that I always get once a month around the time I get my period, I might stop and pick up a bag of almond M&Ms and grab just a small handful, eat those, and call it good because I got my craving. Alright, so Colourpop. Now on to concealer. We're going to use the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam. I love this stuff. And then for powder, I'm going to use the One Size. Haven't used this in a while. I remember liking it. And I don't have any cream products in front of me. I have a powder face palette, so I figured we'd get all this stuff out of the way first. But I've been out of sorts and trying to get my momentum back. And it's hard. Sometimes it's just gonna take a little bit longer. Every person is different. Every moment in your life can affect you differently. It's just how you handle it. And right now I'm just trying to make the best of the current situation with my back the way it is. It does hurt to like sit up straight right now. I'm trying not to slouch. A lot of it's gonna be leaning back. I love this concealer. Okay, now to powder. Sorry I went completely silent while I was doing concealer. I don't know why I need to concentrate on that. This concealer is actually a self-setting and you can just pat out the lines. It looks so smooth. Just so smooth. Minus my creakly under eyes. But you guys, I have been trying to stay busy, like with my friends and family, and just make sure that like you make time for yourself. The other thing is, it's coming to the holiday season. It's November right now. I don't know if this is going up in November. I do have, you guys, I have been pre-recording it because I do have a work trip coming up and I am not taking my filming equipment with me. I am trying to get some things filmed prior to going, and then we roll into the holidays and I don't know what that's gonna hold, and work's gonna be crazy just based off the schedule that I know is in place right now. So I'm busy, so I'm getting distracted, but I'm also like, I got a lot on my mind. There's just a lot going on and I'm trying to focus, but sometimes it's hard to focus. I am still going to see my therapist and he has been very helpful with some of the things going on, and we talk through things. That's what it's all about, right? And I'm thankful for the doctor that I go to. It's not just a venting session with no like back and forth conversation, or he definitely talks through things with me, which is very helpful. But like when I'm second guessing myself, there's that reassurance, because I do second guess myself quite a bit. I don't have everything put together. There's always going to be some type of struggle. Everything's not going to be perfect 100% of the time. And you have to realize that and don't be too hard on yourself. And that might sound like, I don't know. It's just what I had to tell myself, because right now I'm going through some things, and later on down the road, things will get easier. They might get harder, but you're only supposed to be given as much as you can handle. And at the end of it, when you feel like you don't have it together or you can't handle everything, once you're through it, like hopefully you look back and go, oh, okay, yeah, I was able to handle that. It just depends. Why is this not going back on? So anyways, like that's where I'm at right now. As far as like, I honestly started my channel back in 2018 as a distraction. Like, I don't think I ever really talked about like why I started my channel. Yes, I talked about my friend back home who had asked me to like help her with makeup or whatever, and then had told me like you should post that. That was part of it, but I was also going through a time, and I didn't really talk about it. I didn't tell anyone. Honestly, like I didn't tell anyone. Let's finish off this eye look while I talk about it. I'm gonna go into the shade Starfish. So when I started my channel, it was honestly a distraction from my marriage that was ending. I won't talk bad about him. We just grew apart. And when I got stationed, like we started dating, then I was looking at new orders, and I had told him, I was like, are you going with me? Because if you're going with me, like you can't go single, like you can't go as my boyfriend. Might have pressured him into it and not really realized it at the time. But we did get married. We went to Japan, all that stuff. And things were good, but I was also in and out because I was on a ship. And out in Japan...
This might answer your question. A ship is a large watercraft...
Alexa, stop. Don't know how I triggered her. She's always listening. I need to remove her from my room. But I do like listening to music when I'm not filming or talking to you guys. That was weird. Anyways, so I was out in Japan and he went with me. But my ship, when I was out there, we were always gone. So we were considered FDNF, which is Forward Deployed Naval Forces. There's things that are going on in the world. There are things that we will go and do, exercises to practice. Like, there's things. So I was gone a lot when I was in Japan. And then when I got back, I picked orders and I went to be an RDC in Chicago. Well, those orders were also going to be pretty busy, especially the first year, because you do, usually on your front end, you do 5 divisions of 88 recruits for 8 weeks. And that's when I started to notice like things were a little weird. We weren't the same. It was when I went on hold that I was home a lot. I wasn't at work as often as I had been when we were stationed in Japan or in Chicago. And when I went back on push, on my back end, is when it was really a disconnect, because I had friends in the area and we'd always do stuff, and he's not as outgoing as I am. Not a bad thing. We were kind of yin and yang. His mom, who they still check on me all the time to like make sure I'm doing good. But when I wasn't pushing a division or teaching recruits, it was a little strained. Now I'm going into Deep Sea, just on my compacted smudge brush, and then I'll use the bigger one for the outer corner. I was a social butterfly. I still am. I love to go and like spend time with my friends, and I love spending time with my family. And my family at the time was in Indiana and Michigan. So right around the bend, I could just zip over, and 2 hours, 3 hours later, I was home. And just over time, he and I kind of like distanced ourselves. I'd be like, hey, let's go do this. And he's like, no. But then it would be, okay, well, let's go do this. And he'd say no. And I'd give him like 50 different options of things that were going on in the area, or like things that friends had invited us to. And he's like, I don't want to do that. But then it'd be the weekend and he's like, I'm bored. And I was like, I'm going out. I'm going out. So I started to make plans with my friends because we just weren't seeing eye to eye. And it wasn't for a lack of like trying to include him. I just didn't know what to do. I would be like, hey, we're going to go to the brewery and do trivia. Well, I don't want to do trivia. But you like beer, so go and hang out. Well, I don't know anyone. Well, you're not going to learn or make new friends if you don't go. So he'd go, but it was like, it was hard. And finally, shoot, what was it? 2020? So the end of 2019 was when I was going on my last push in November, like right around the holidays. That's what it was. It was right around the holidays. It wasn't even like a huge fight. It was just a disagreement because I was tired. He wasn't. He started to watch. This is when you know it's like there's signs. There's signs. And everyone's like, no, make it work. And I was back and forth on that for like 2 years, where I was like, I'm just gonna call it quits. We're just gonna like be happy and separate. Like, it'll work. I was thinking about that in my head. And I also don't know how we got onto this story, but like, you guys, I don't think I've ever shared this with you guys. All right, so that's where we're at with this. I do need to do the inner corner. We're gonna go into the shade Water Nymph. This has like a blue-green hue, like shift. This is only gonna go in the inner corner. Brow bone is gonna be a highlighter. But that one night, because it was the week before, or the weekend, or I think it was the week before I went on, like started my last push. And I was just exhausted. And I was like, are you going to bed? And he's like, no, I'm going to stay up and watch this show. And I was like, we watched that together. Can we just save it for another night? Like maybe tomorrow night while we eat dinner, we can watch it together. And he got mad. That's the only way I can explain it. Because he's not like an aggressive person. He said some things and I was like, ooh, you're in your feelings. And I was like, you know what? Like, this isn't working. And I finally was like, go be free. Just, I don't want this anymore. I'm over it. Like, I'm not going to keep bending over backwards and being unhappy and like pushing for something that you obviously don't want. And, ooh, I really like that. And so that night, I locked all of his stuff. Like, all the things that he would need to go to bed were outside the door. We had a guest room. It had a guest bed. He could sleep in there. Like, I was going to bed. Well, that's when our Amazon friend is linked to all the lights, and he had decided that he was going to have her turn on the bedroom light. And I'm like, well, it doesn't work when you unplug her. So I did. I really didn't think this was the story I was going to tell you guys today. But at that point, it was just kind of like the next day I was like, all right, I'm scheduling an appointment with Jag and we're going to get papers drawn and whatever. I couldn't get an appointment for a week. So that week happened and we were still like living separately in the house. And I thankfully had to go to work, so I wasn't home that often. I do have the Ofra Bienvenidos A Miami. This is the mini mix face palette. I got this in a subscription box. It has 2 blushes, 2 highlighters, and 2 bronzers, which means I need a contour. So I will grab a contour. I know which blush I'm going to gravitate towards, but the bronzers I'm not so sure about. And then I do have these. They have been in my drawer and I keep forgetting about them. These are from SHEGlam. They're the Chroma-Glow Bloom highlighters, liquid highlighters. Probably should have used those earlier. Let me grab a contour real quick. And I did move my drawers a little bit closer. Well, I moved my desk a little bit closer to my drawers. All right, because I already set everything, I'm just gonna go in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer Contour palette. I'm just going in with this lighter shade. It's very well loved and I really like this shade. Arriving at the morning of the appointment with Jag, which is in the Navy, if you haven't like heard anything about it, Jag is Judge Advocate General. They will provide you, they can't do like, because our divorce would have been civilian, they couldn't represent me in court if I needed a lawyer, but they could help me prepare the documents for Chicago area. So when I went in and talked to Jag, they were able to like help me with the paperwork. We drafted it together. The good thing is when my ex and I had decided that we were going to separate and file for divorce, we were at least discussing via text the things that we wanted from the house. He didn't want much. He's more minimal than I am. Not a bad thing. But then that also meant that when we got married, I brought all my furniture in, and I have really nice hardwood, dark wood type of furniture, and it was all mine. Some things we purchased together, but he didn't want it. He took like the camping gear, and I was like, I can replace camping gear. I don't go camping as often, but I do like camping. So it was just kind of like, all right, fine. I guess I can buy a new tent and sleeping bag. Like, not a big deal. Right now it sounds painful sleeping on the ground in a tent right now. It just makes my back hurt thinking about it. Anyways, but it was pretty amicable. There were some things that based off of time of marriage in the military, and I'm not going to get into that. There are certain time frames and whatnot. For bronzer, I'm actually going to mix these two because I think this one's too dark and I think that might be too light. So we'll see. We're going to play around with this real quick. But because we had only been married 7 years. I say only, but we were married for 7 years, and based off of certain regulations with the military, he wasn't entitled to my benefits. He didn't get to keep his military ID. Just, there were things that he was not allowed to do. He couldn't continue to do medical on base or anything like that. All that stuff had to be reestablished at a new doctor and whatnot. The good thing was that because he was a civilian. He had never done military service. His medical record and stuff wasn't kept at a military installation, so he could go and get that stuff from his doctor, no problem. he didn't need me to pick it up for him or whatnot. Because once the divorce and everything was finalized, I had his ID card terminated. Which, because I went in there and I was like, I need to file this paperwork saying that I'm divorced. And she's like, oh, how long were you guys married? And I told her, she's like, oh, termination. I was like, all right, cool. I said, do I need to get his ID back? She's like, no, but if he tries to access the base, it's a felony. And I was like, I'll let him know. So I let him know, but he thought he got to keep his ID and still use it for benefits. And I was like, it's not how this works. So he stopped talking to me after that. And I was like, you didn't ask for any of it. And technically, under regulations, like, he wasn't entitled to it. All right, so I'm going to go into this peachy shade for blush. And I forgot, the titles are right here. So this one is 305. And the bronzers are Cafecito and it's spelled like Dale, but they're Dale. It's not Dale. If you know how it's pronounced, let me know. It's pretty. But, you know, after that, we kind of kept in touch for a little bit. I'm still in contact with like his stepdad and his mom. They'll check on me once in a while. His stepdad is retired military, so he also, like, he has played a pretty active role in my career as like just checking in on me, making sure I'm staying on track, like I'm doing what I should be doing, just, you know, things. It's not that they're betraying him, that I'm sure he knows that we still talk. But after about a year and a half, and we got divorced, we were finalized in 2020, like March 16, 2020. So 10 days later, the world shut down. Which is also why it took me 3 years to get my name changed back to my maiden name. And 3 different attempts through the Social Security Administration. But they still check on me. And he and I talked for about a year and a half. Like, we would just check in on each other. Like Thanksgiving, we would just say Happy Thanksgiving or like Happy Holidays. And then he blocked me on Facebook. And I don't know why. I don't care. I hope he's happy. I know that his family is still, like, they live where I grew up. So he's originally not from Bradenton, Florida, where I went to high school. But that is where he lives now, like right down the road from my high school. I thought it was funny because I was like, I'm going to go back there. Like, I have all my friends there. I have family that lives there. Like, I'm going to go back there. We're bound to run into each other. But he had no ties there, and it was because his sister had moved to the area. But Bradenton, Sarasota area is actually really nice. Right there by the beaches. It's not as expensive as Siesta Key, but I loved growing up there. It is also really, really hot. And my parents are about an hour and a half south of there now. My dad and stepmom live in Cape Coral. So either way, I'm going back to Florida. Whether it's to visit or to move, I'm going back to Florida. But yeah, that was just like the weirdest ramble. I'm so sorry. I did not expect to end up on that conversation. All right, for highlighter, I'm thinking I want to go with the more gold shade, which is, this one is Ocean Drive. I need to do my brow bone and then the cheeks. If you have never tried Ofra highlighters, their formula is beautiful and it's just so gleaming. And I'm not going super intense on my brow bone. Like, I just don't need it to be. I will say though, like, when I talk to people about my divorce and stuff, they didn't know I was getting divorced. First off, I didn't tell anyone. I told my close friends. I didn't post it on Facebook. Like, there are certain things that do not need to be an announcement on Facebook or social media. Like, I just went and changed my last name on Facebook, and everyone was just kind of like, it took a minute for people to catch on. I got unfriended a couple of times because people didn't know my maiden name. And then all of a sudden I'd get friend requests from people that I was like, I was friends with you on Facebook. And they're like, I didn't know it was you. And I was going through and deleting people I hadn't talked to in a while. And I didn't realize, like, you had changed your name. And they're like, what happened? And I was like, you know, just a divorce. It was subtle. I literally just overnight changed my last name, and because I left my married name up there for a little while, and then all of a sudden it just like disappeared. And everyone's like, what? Because I wasn't voicing, like, we weren't arguing on social media, we weren't, and even like our arguments were more like disagreements. We had just fallen out of love with each other. There's also like, this is gonna sound mean, I had been told by multiple people after we were divorced and after they figured out we were divorced, they're like, we always wondered how you two became like married and a couple, like you were so opposite. And I was like, that's what made us great in the beginning. I'm very outgoing, I speak my mind. That's also a attribution to the military. I was shy growing up. I kept to myself. And over time, you start talking. And you have to like have a voice. But he was very quiet and very shy. And nothing wrong with that. You guys, I like this. I'm still intrigued by these. And I kind of want to like play around with them a little bit. So this one is Stardust. You can't really tell what it looks like in here. Alright, so this one looks like it's kind of like a gold hue. We're gonna swatch these. Ooh, that is definitely like a goldish hue. Then we have Solar Flare. This one looks a little like yellowy. Oh, okay, so this one has like pinky hue. This one has like a yellow gold hue. That's also what time it is. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. I have literally been taking my sweet time. And then Flying Comet. This one looks like it's got greenish blue hue. Ooh. Oh yeah, those are very different. I kind of want to use this one because it has the green. Alright, so swatched out a little bit more. Yeah, I think, like, which one is this? Flying Comet. I don't remember which one's which. I swatched them all in different order of finger. But I will say, like, Luke and I have been taking our time. We're coming up on 2 years together. We started dating Black Friday 2 years ago. And he was like, babe, what are we gonna do? Because our anniversary's on Black Friday. I said, you do know that Black Friday had a date attached to it, right? He's like, what? And I was like, that's the date of our anniversary. It's not always gonna be Black Friday. And he was like, wait. I'm like, have you been counting on our anniversary being Black Friday every like year? And he was like, no. I was like, babe, I have it in the calendar. Like I have the date attached to it. And he was like, so when are we gonna celebrate it? Because I'm technically not supposed to be here. I have a work thing that is not in the area. And he was like, crap, now I gotta figure out like dinner before Thanksgiving dinner. I was like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. He's like, but what about like the holidays? He's like, this is what sucks about starting to date someone before the holidays. And I was like, no one told you had to start dating me before the holidays. He was like, but we didn't talk for a month. I ghosted him. You guys, I was busy. We were talking and then I got really busy and I just disappeared. And then I randomly text him on Black Friday having drinks with a friend that was in from out of town. Not everyone would be like, oh yeah, sure, let me meet up after you ghosted me for a month. He was a sweetheart. Alright, so I swatched a little bit on the back of my hand. I'm not sure how I want to do this. I think I'm just gonna like pick a little up on my finger. Where's my mirror? Pat it out and maybe it won't be streaky. Ooh, that is really pretty though. It doesn't look like it's the blue-green. It looks like it has like a pink and green shift. But Luke and I will have been together for almost, well, for 2 years this year. That is really pretty. I'm gonna see if my dampened sponge will just like blend it in a little bit more. So I picked up a little bit on the sponge. But you guys, that's like how my life has been going. I'm all over the place right now. I can't seem to focus. Do you get like that? Like, do you have that moment of where everything seems to be going fine and then all of a sudden it's just, there's just so much on your plate and you're not really sure what to do, but you're just thankful for the people that are in your life that like try and keep you grounded? Because that's how I feel right now. I'm grounded because people are checking on me, and in the mornings, like, I'll text Jamie, I will Voxer Casey. Like, I have a good group of people. They're not the only ones that I text, but they're the ones that like will check on me and see how I'm doing and making sure like I'm keeping my head straight. But it's just when there's a lot going on in your life and you're not really sure what the next step is, it's good to have a good group of people that have your best interest at hand. Let's do brows. So I got this in one of the advent calendars, and that video should be going up here soon. This will definitely go up after that video. This is the Winky Luxe Uni-Brow. You guys, if I didn't get my brows done, if Haley didn't do them for me, I would have a Uni-Brow. And they grow in fierce. They also grow in kind of blonde. So that's a saving grace. All right, let's try this out and see. I'm gonna lean back because you guys, my back is killing me. I don't know, if you guys have any like questions or things that you want me to talk about, let me know. Today was just kind of a, let's talk for a little bit. Okay, maybe. So this thing is so tiny, I don't know that I can do my trick of like against the nose. Kinda. And this is supposed to be like a universal shade. I don't think I've really used Winky Luxe before. Wow, I don't know what that was focusing on. Like, I have no idea. It's kind of waxy. It's not bad. I think this is a pretty decent shade for me. Only because I dye my hair darker. What do you guys have going on for the holidays? Luke and I have not figured it out. We're kind of at the whim of our work schedules right now. And like his work schedule is probably more strenuous than mine. As far as like, he's on a ship, he goes in and out. But my schedule is based off of other people's schedules for work. So we're not sure what we're doing for the holidays. And if we do, because of my schedule and because of his schedule, wherever we go is only going to be for a couple days. Just trying to figure that out. We went home to his family last year. I do know that I need to go to Florida. One, my family's there, but two, I need to get my license changed. I just finally got my last name reverted back to my maiden name. Trying to get a hold of someone in Florida to do the paperwork. So I'm still a Florida resident. I have been for 19.5 years while I've been active duty. I get to maintain that residency until I retire, and then depending on where I'm at is where my residency will be. My dad has asked me to move back to Florida. I'm okay with that. I think Luke would be okay with that. But I was also thinking about like maybe Tennessee. He's got family in Texas. So like that's been a thought. We're just not sure. Like part of me is like, okay, I want somewhere that actually has all the seasons because I do like the snow. We have time though. He doesn't retire for a little bit. We are at the whim of his next set of orders because yes, we get a choice with the military, like where we go, but sometimes they just dictate to you and tell you like, you're going here. Which is also why I'm like, I'm retiring. And even then, that's not a full choice. Like, you can apply for it, but depending on what the current situation is, and we don't have the manpower, some people are getting their stuff denied and they're not getting to retire when they want to. So it just, when I'm able to submit my paperwork, which is July 1st next year, I can apply 2 years prior to the date I want to retire. And I'll find out within a couple months if they're going to let me. But they could also say no, reapply as you get closer. And it's just, it's kind of like, ugh, I don't want to do that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I'm used to it, where it hasn't been my choice for so many years that, oh, what's another year of not making a choice? That's yours. So we do have time, because no matter what, like whether I retire in 2 years or Luke retires in 7, we still have time in the military between the two of us. Why do my eyebrows always look like this one is always higher than this one? You guys, my brows can look crazed sometimes. Just trying to make them look like twins. I've rambled for quite some time. Let me go finish my brows, liner, mascara. I do have lip products from Lunar, so I'll be back for that. Okay, you guys, anything that I use that I didn't talk about on camera is going to be linked down below. So definitely go check down there for like eyeliner and mascara. All of that is down there. Now, we do have 3 liquid lipsticks. Look at this packaging. It is so stunning. Okay, let's see what these shades are all about. This first one is Sailor. I love the component. It is so pretty. Do you see the jewel in there? Because it's a liquid lipstick, I am going to swatch it on my hand. Ooh. That ombre lip I was looking for when I did the Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge. This would be really pretty. And you guys, I figured out how everyone's been doing it, and that was my fault for not looking at a lot of like tutorials, but I was like, I'll figure this out, I'll be good. They were not using the black liquid lipstick. They were using the lip liner, feathering it on the side, and then using a nude lip. This one is Abyss. I haven't opened it, so I don't know like what order I'm doing these in. Ooh, this one is purple. There is a scent. It smells like vanilla buttercream. I also didn't even look at the video Manny did for this collection. He did one. I just didn't have a chance to. There's just been so much going on, you guys. So that shade is Abyss. Ooh, that is really pretty. And then the last shade is Pink Pearl. I almost didn't buy all 3 shades. I was just gonna buy the nude. But then I was kind of like, you know what? I want all of them. Okay, so this one is Pink Pearl. I feel like this shade and that shade, what is that? Sailor and Pink Pearl, like these two mixed together would be my ideal shade. I'm just saying. Like, there's part of me that wants to put Pink Pearl on first and then put this on top and do kind of like the ombre effect. We'll try. We'll try. Like, maybe those two together would be my ideal mauvey pink. This one is like the same shade as this almost. Okay, so I swatched a couple different lip liners. The muted pink is the closest, and unfortunately I don't have any darker pink lip liners. The other container is all red. So we're gonna go in and line and see what we get. I will say I love the Huda Beauty. I will say I love the Huda Beauty lip liners. They are so creamy and make it so easy to line your lips. eyeline because I really just need a stencil of like where the liquid lipstick's gonna go. Alright, so we're gonna start with Pink Pearl. I wiped off a bunch of the excess, so we'll see. I'm not going to go all the way in, especially because I have that tan shade that I want to use. I'm going to leave a little bit there so that it can show through. I may have accidentally overlined with the liquid lipstick. It is what it is. There's no going back. Alright, I'm gonna let this dry down for a second before we try and use the tan shade. Okay, and now we're gonna go in with the shade Sailor. I'm just wiping the excess off because I don't know how this is gonna turn out. You guys, it just looks muddy. It's like a brownie pink. Okay, you guys. So my lights are finally giving out because, so I only have one power cord out. Usually I only ever need the one and then I can charge the other lights when I'm not filming or whatnot. But when I do a long drawn out video like this, one of them has to be like switched out halfway through, and this light just went out and I was like, that means I went long-winded. So we're gonna wrap this up. I probably was better off just using the one shade. I have not mastered the like ombre effect. It's just not my thing. I don't normally do it. I think this shade, it looks really muddy. The tan by itself might be pretty. We'll see in the future. I don't know, like I said, you guys, I just want to play around with makeup. I wanted to take my mind off of everything that is going on right now. My back is killing me. I am probably gonna switch back into pajamas and hang out on the couch with Dixon, wait for Luke to get home from work, and just chill because it's been a day. And I am supposed to go back to work tomorrow, but my body doesn't feel like it's ready for it. I know that I need to push myself to go and do stuff. But you guys, the lip is at least something to be desired. I do like the shades by themselves, and like this purple shade is everything for fall. I think, what was it? Was it the Haunted Mansion? No, it was Casper Profusion. I did the lip topper. Those are a lot of fun. I feel like I could do that with the deeper shade. I haven't mastered the ombre. I've been watching a couple different like tutorials on how to do the ombre. They're doing it with lip liner and then like filling in with a nude lipstick, not a liquid lipstick. So I'm gonna play around with that, maybe see if I can finesse it. But you know, I tried. I do kind of like, I mean, it's growing on me, the like burgundy purple lip liner and then the like muddy tan liquid lip. I don't know, let me know your guys' thoughts. I used a lot of fun products today, just aired out some things that were on my mind, kind of gave you guys an update on things that like have been on my mind. Let me know, you might be going through similar things or just, you know, I appreciate you for being here and listening, and if you have any thoughts or maybe you're going through some similar things, let me know down below. If you want to have that conversation, we definitely can. I know I've had a couple people DM me on Instagram and just kind of start that conversation. Maybe you don't want to air it out on like a public forum in the comment section of YouTube, but definitely find me over on Instagram. I do answer my DMs over there. But I wanted to take my mind off things, play with some new makeup, things that have been in the drawer that I haven't gotten around to testing out, and just talk to you guys. Just explain the things that are on my mind or that are stressing me out, or just a whole story time about an amicable divorce. I don't know, I had no idea that that was the conversation or the direction it was going to go. But you guys, let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about, if you've got questions, if there's makeup products you want me to try out, maybe you want to see a different type of vlog. I'm open to suggestions or ideas, things that you want to see from me. But you guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell for notifications of new videos. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Until my next video, you guys, bye. I'll see you in the next one.